Welcome to FPL Selection. Today we'll review the 10 matches from Game Week 9 to see which players caught the eye and have been added to the watch list. Hit like and subscribe if you enjoy the video and let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks. First up, Leeds 2, West Ham 1. Another poor performance from West Ham gave Leeds a fairly comfortable win here. Both Leeds goals were poorly defended and West Ham just didn't look like creating much, especially in the second half. Rodon got his second goal of the season, hit DEFCON in the game. He's a very good choice as a cheap bench enabler at 4.1 million. Although Leeds do have some tougher games from now up till Christmas, so maybe not the best choice, but I don't think you can go far wrong with him. You could also look at Bijol, who got his first start of the season. A lot of Leeds fans have been asking for him to start, as they spent a fair bit of money on him in the summer. He's only 3.9 million, and he did hit DEFCON in the game as well. One to keep an eye on, as supposedly has a bit of a reputation of being sort of a no-nonsense defender with a bit of threat at set pieces, so he could turn out to be very good for DEFCON and potentially a few goals there as well. The other Leeds player that caught my eye is Okafor. He's got 2 goals and an assist so far this season, and only 5 starts with limited minutes in those starts. He had an injury at the start of the season, so he wasn't fully fit coming in, but he's slowly building up his fitness, and whenever he is available, he has been starting. So I think he is first choice. He's very quick. He gets himself in a good goal scoring positions. He's sort of a half winger, half striker. So he's one to monitor. He's only 5.5 million. And for West Ham, I think the only decent pick at the moment is probably Bowen. Until we see something different from Nuno's West Ham, I just don't think anyone else is worth bothering with at the moment because we just don't know what we're going to get. Bowen still manages to find points even when the team's playing poorly. He just might be a bit expensive as a forward, especially playing for such a poor team. It's not really worth it unless they've got really good fixtures. And Chelsea 1, Sunderland 2. A really fun game, this one. Seeing a newly promoted team just play really well against one of the expected top 4. Both teams had chances in the game. I think either side could have won it in the end. But Sunderland got the counter right at the end and took the points. And yeah, it was really nice to see. I think from the Chelsea defence, I'd probably try to keep it cheap and go for Chalobah at this point. The minutes are there, he'll get chances from set pieces, and he's probably most likely to get DEFCON over James and Cucurella. I just don't think the Chelsea defence is that dependable at the moment, so maybe not worth spending more than, going for someone like Chalobah. In attack, I'd probably still go for Enzo. He's going to get good minutes. He's likely on penalties with Palmer out. He had 3 shots on target in the game, and to be honest, I don't think it was his best game, just from an eye test perspective. But he's still got himself in the right position. So, yeah, I'm still quite positive on Enzo. For Sunderland, Roofs, again, scored really well. He got 2 save points. He could be a really good value keeper at 4.7. If the Sunderland defence continues to do well and, until they start doing badly, we've got to assume they're going to keep, having good stats and getting the clean sheets and, keeping limited numbers on the goals conceded. You've obviously also got the centre-backs at 4.1 million, Mukiele and Alderete. It'd be interesting to see who plays against Everton. Now all the defenders are fit and available, especially if they revert to a back 4 after playing a back 5 at Chelsea. So I think it'd be, keep an eye on that and see who does turn out to be first choice. And Newcastle 2, Fulham 1. Newcastle probably deserved the win here on the balance of chances. They hit the post twice and they missed a sitter before finally getting the winner late on. Voltemada was unlucky not to score. He hit the post. He looks to be the pick in the Newcastle attack at the moment. And I think their defence is still second best in the league for expected goals against, just behind Arsenal. Pope's probably the number 1 pick at this point. He keeps getting the save points and got a fair bit of bonus potential to go with the clean sheets they've had this season. And, they've got really good chance of clean sheets in a lot of matches. But if you need a defender, I think Burn or Chow would be my picks. Both look good for minutes and they're hitting decent numbers on the DEFCON. Maybe Burn less so at left back, but yeah, he's still getting the minutes, so I think either one would be decent picks at this point. For Fulham, I think they're in a void with Anderson out. There's no clear talisman in attack without Muniz. I think Jimenez will likely drop out for him when he returns from injury. So, yeah, I just think it's very difficult at this point to pick any Fulham assets. And, yeah, maybe when Anderson comes back, he'll still be the pick for them. United 4, Brighton 2. I think this was United's best attacking display of the season so far. Stats do look quite close in the game, but if you watch the game, United had so many more high quality chances. Looked threatening throughout the game, other than a couple of sort of 15-minute periods for Brighton at the start, and as they brought it back to 3-2. And Boomer got the 2 goals, all 3 bonus. He continues to be sort of the main threat in front of goal for United. He had another chance well saved as well. It's working nicely for him because Ad is doing all the work out wide. And that means Mbeumo can sort of play closer to the centre. He's always in and around the box. He just keeps popping up in the right areas to, get on the end of chances, and he's getting a lot of shots off. 8.2 million, he's probably the number 1 United pick if looking over a shorter period of games. But I think if you're looking longer term, I still think Bruno Fernandes is just worth the extra 8.9. You won't see it if you only watch sort of the shorter highlights of the match, but he got into the box several times in the game. He had 2 good chances, well saved by Verbruggen. He also set up in Mbeumo's 3rd chance. We could have had his hat-trick. And that got saved onto the post. So he just has more ways to score points than Mbeumo. So I think if you look over the course of the season, their points will sort of balance out. But with Mbeumo, you'll get more sort of larger hauls, and then with Fernandes, you'll tick over, more regularly with the points, I think. So, yeah, it just depends on your play style, really, on which one you go for, I think. United have got good fixtures up to Christmas, so you could potentially double up as well. From a Brighton point of view, Welbeck continued his scoring run. It was a great free kick that he scored. He's got 5 goals in his last 4 games now. Might be worth a punt. Brighton's got decent fixtures up to Christmas as well. You could also go for Van Heck in the defence if you wanted to take a punt there. He's only 4.4 million. He hit DEFCON for the 5th time in 6 games in this one. But the trouble with Brighton is just no clean sheets so far this season. And yeah, it's just a wait and watch for now, I think, until we see, them keep a couple maybe. And Brentford 3, Liverpool 2. Brentford really deserved this win as they just continued to threaten in the game. They didn't sit back when they went in front. They're really effective with the long throws and set pieces. And, they're really dangerous on the counter-attack too. Liverpool struggled to create clear-cut chances in the game. And they still don't look right defensively either. So, yeah, I think it was a well-deserved win for Brentford. Thiago scored the penalty. He was a real handful in the game. He's definitely the talisman for Brentford. Very good value at 6.2 million. Damsgaard also stood out again. I called him out last week as having a really good game and one to watch. He's a really creative player. Reminds me of Eriksen a lot in the way that he sort of passes and strikes the ball. He had several shots in the game, forced good saves, and the pass for Shardy's goal was incredible. Really worth watching if you haven't seen it. Just sort of deep. It was basically on the halfway line, I suppose. And yeah, when you see the angle and the run from Sharda, it's, really good pass. He's 5.8 million. Could be an interesting differential, only 0.6% ownership overall. I think both defences are in a void at the moment. The Liverpool attack will definitely be one to look at in a couple of weeks. They've got a great run from game week 12 to 20. I think it's just a case of picking the right one at this point. It's still tricky. I think Gakpo still looks the most likely to score goals at the moment. He didn't have his best game here and did get taken off, but he's just very greedy. He likes to shoot. He puts in a number of crosses as well, and he just looks a lot busier than Salah at the moment. The other one I'm sort of keeping an eye on is Ekatike. I think when he does get the minutes, he will get the chances, and he's already shown earlier in the season he can finish when he does get them. Just obviously depends on Isak's fitness, but you'd imagine with a busy schedule, he's going to get some minutes, and they're not going to overplay Isak now with his injury record. Arsenal 1, Palace 0. Arsenal with another really solid control and display. Palace had a decent first 20 minutes, but they just found it difficult to create the clear-cut chances. And then it was all Arsenal from that point, really, in terms of the possession. They were still very reliant on set pieces for creating their chances. Gabriel has now, I think, reached that stage of must own. This Arsenal defence is so difficult to break down. They've had 6 clean sheets this season, and Gabriel's points in the last 4 games is 13, 9, 12, and 9 again. He's had max bonus in 3 of those 4 games. He's hitting high numbers on the DEFCON. He's got a goal and assist this season and just looks so threatening at every set piece. He always gets on the end of it. I think he could have had a couple more goals already, really. So, yeah, I think if you haven't got an Arsenal defender, you just need to get him in at this point. Saka had a quieter game here against a good Palace defence. Only got 65 minutes. I heard he might have been ill in the lead up to this game, which might explain why he got the reduced minutes. But also, hopefully, it means Arteta is going to look after him a bit more this season and not overplay him. Burnley and Sunderland, next 2 fixtures, they'll probably need him to break down the deep blocks. And he's really looked back to his best in recent weeks since being injured. So I think he's probably going to be the most consistent of the Arsenal attackers for the minutes and probably the points up till Christmas. And for Palace, Mateta is still the go-to man. He was kept quiet here. But they have some great fixtures coming up till Christmas, and he's obviously the main talisman for them on penalties. And I think from the defence, you see Munoz playing again, even against Arsenal, so attacking, basically a winger. He's got the most routes to points of all the Palace defenders. So I think if you've got the budget, which I think most people do now if they've sold Salah, he's definitely worth picking over the other Palace players. And Villa 1, City 0. I think City will feel hard done by not to get at least a point, as they created some good chances in the game. A goal narrowly disallowed for offside, and there was a couple of clearances on the goal line for Villa as well. But Villa held on well in the end, got a really good win. I think both defences will wait and watch for another couple of weeks. There's better fixtures to come. But you could look at Rodgers for Villa. Liverpool way up next, which should be a nice counter-attacking game. I think Bournemouth, Leeds, Wolves are the 3 after, which again could be good for attackers. So he might also be on penalties as well. We don't know who's going to be the next taker. When Dia missed the last one, potentially McGinn might be on them as well, but yeah, I think it's up in the air at the moment. And Rodgers was mentioned by Emery as a potential taker. And for City, Haaland probably should have scored at least 1 in this game. He had 1 ruled out for offside. He's very obviously the number 1 pick there. Not much more to say on him. I think Reinders is still my second City pick. Not worth watching in this game because he had to play the deeper role with Rodri and Gonzalez out. I think a transition game against Bournemouth next week, that will really suit him if he doesn't have to play in that 6 role. I think Rodri's back in training. I'm not sure on the Gonzalez situation, but yeah, if he gets to play further forward, that could be a really good game for him, getting up alongside Haaland. And I think it could be similar against Liverpool and Newcastle too. Bigger games, if they play a little bit more on the counter in the way they did against Arsenal. He'll be the one, the runner to get up alongside Haaland. So I think from now, he'd still be my second pick. And then Foden has now played 90 in 5 of the last 6. But he's only got 1 goal this season so far. Maybe he's still working up to, full fitness and getting himself back to where he was season before last. But yeah, he's going to have a good run of form at some point. You just can't imagine he's going to, not get back to his top form. And we know what he can do when he is playing at his best. And Bournemouth 2, Forest 0. Bournemouth won this fairly easily, although they didn't really create a lot of chances. The goals came from a direct corner and a long-range strike. But Forest barely threatened at all, so it was quite comfortable in the end for them. Krupi Jr. got himself another goal, and he may well keep his place in the side now, even if Evan Nilsson is ready to return at the weekend. He could be an ideal 8th attacker, just 4.6 million, as he should continue to get minutes, even if he does end up back on the bench. You can imagine he's going to come on and get sort of 15, 20 minutes each week, which is ideal, for a bench player that you're not going to use very often. Semenyo had only his second blanker this season. He's still the go-to pick, I think, at Bournemouth for now. And then as is Senesi in the defence. He's only 5 million. It's their 4th clean sheet of the season, Bournemouth. And the DEFCON wasn't there this week, but I think that's because Forest didn't really put up much of a threat. But there's a couple of tougher games to come against City and Villa, so if you need to play him in those games, it's at least a 4-point start probably in both. As for Forest, I think it's early days under Dyche, but I have liked what I've seen from Gibbs White in the last couple of weeks. He keeps getting himself in the box and he's having a fair few chances. So I think one to monitor over the next few games. Wolves 2, Burnley 3. A draw probably would have been fair in this one. Wolves had the chances to win it after they come back from 2 down. But then Burnley just sort of sneaked it at the end. I think they probably have to thank Dubravka really, because he made an incredible save not long after they scored the third, just to hold on for the points. Another save point for him this week. He just keeps picking them up. Still the best Burnley pick, I think, and must be on everyone's bench at this point for only 4 million. Then if you're looking for defenders, Twanzebe started again. He was only one away from DEFCON, and he's only 3.9 million, so you need to save that extra 0.1. It looks like he might be the first choice now. Alongside Ishdev, he could do the same job for you really if you've got 4 million. Just sit there on your bench. Be a bit safer for minutes there probably. And for Wolves, Strand Larson, he's had a couple of 90 minutes now. He scored a penalty in this one. Wolves are going to be relying on him to score the goals if they're going to, see any uptick in form. So one to keep an eye on because he looked really good last season. If he can get to those levels again, then, they might get a few goals out of him. And yeah, most of the goals are going to come through him really, realistically. Then Everton 0, Spurs 3. The scoreline in this one, I don't think it really reflects how the game went. Everton had plenty of chances in the game. They had a goal margin he ruled out for a subjective offside. And then Spurs goals came from 2 set pieces and a late third on the counter. So it could have easily been the other way round or, even a draw. There was a couple of great saves from Vicario as well that kept Spurs on course for the win. I think for Everton, Njai still looks like the attacker to own. He's shown a different level this season, and certainly I didn't realise he was such a good player after watching a few more Everton games this year. He's been unlucky not to get a few more returns in the last few weeks. He just keeps putting chances on a plate for Beto, who's just really unreliable as a finisher. He's on penalties, good minutes. He'd still be my first choice. But I think Grealish is a decent alternative. He's starting to get big chances in the games to score. Coming in from the left, he just seems to be getting on the end of things recently. So if he could just add a few goals to his game to go along with a sort of high assist potential, I think he might be worth paying the extra in a few weeks' time. But yeah, it's just a wait and watch, I think, at this moment. But he's certainly a fun player to watch anyway. For Spurs, it's 4 clean sheets for the season. And you can clearly see that Frank's prioritised making the defence a lot more stable. Van de Ven's their top scorer actually in all competitions with 5 overall. He's got 3 in the league. It's a real threat at set pieces, and you can see Spurs have clearly improved on them this season. 4.7 million, he's probably the one to go for. He's unlikely to hit DEFCONs regularly, but that goal threat and the clean sheet potential is there for a decent price. Then alternatively, you could have Vicario if you need a keeper. He's only 5.1. He should have had a save point in this one, actually. I can recall 3 saves he made in the game, but perhaps one of them was judged to be going wide. But he's regularly picking up those extra points to go along with a decent clean sheet potential. So, yeah, I think he's a decent shout at a mid-price for a goalkeeper. So that's it for this one. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.